Here we go, Barflies. Welcome to the Barfly Tailgate Show. Just like the Bears, we're starting fresh. You know, it's just a little revamp of the team, of the squad. You know, we got new video and we got a new fucking quarterback. We got a new everything, man. The draft, one of the best drafts I think that I can remember, man. All in all, going in with, you know, the 20th and coming out with everything that we came out with, man, coming out with a guy in this, you know, that we were supposed to get at 20 in the second, and just the whole thing of it, man. We'll get into it all. We'll break it all down for you guys. We'll kick it around the room real quick and reintroduce myself or ourselves. Let me start with Mr. Ryan Badgley, Badge of Honor. Badge, what's up, brother?
Oh, Bobby Bombs. Yes, sir. Excited. Justin Fields is our quarterback. I don't really need to say much more than that, just because how can you not be excited? The potential that this kid brings to the table. I mean, yes, I still think Matt Nagy's offense is shit, but Justin Fields is our quarterback. Justin Fields. I freaking can't wait to order my jersey. I'm planning on ordering it this week. Number one's going to be huge, I think, wearing this navy and orange. And Tevin Jenkins, welcome aboard, a road grading offensive lineman who I know there's some hiccup on him because it doesn't seem like he loves the game. But, man, seeing those interviews and whatnot from him, you know, oh, my God. I couldn't be happier with how all this turned out, fellas. Couldn't be happier.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just all in all, it was hands down, like every pick, there's something to be excited for, you know. Next, we got Mr. Mike Schaefer. We got Mr. We the Fans, Mr. Southlot. You know, he's in here ready to do his thing. Mike, what's up, brother?
What's up, everybody? Lucky for us, the Bears draft went a lot better than us getting the show off the ground today. What a weekend. What a weekend to be a Bears fan. I was saying before the show that I compare my feeling right now to the feeling the morning that we traded for Khalil Mack, the sense of optimism that, you know, we've finally figured things out. And granted, these guys have to play. You know, I think we talked last week about that, right? Like it's one thing to look at your picks. It's one thing to talk about potential, but it's another thing when these guys step in between the lines. So we still have a lot of ground to cover, but shit, you know, we're talking about a team that has a generational quarterback. We haven't had that in 100 damn years of this franchise's history. So whether he starts week 1, week 4, or in his second season, guys, we're in for a hell of a decade to come, where offense will be as important as defense in the city for the first time in a long time. So get on the train, buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride being a Bears fan.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm with you. Like, I don't think we throw him into the fire right away. I think that's going to be the calling card, though. That's what everybody's going to want. We've seen it happen with Mitch. We've seen it happen over the years, and I think the organization is going to come under some fire if he sits the whole year, right? But I mean, depending on what he's learned or what he's doing and how the offensive line looks, I think it's the best move, man. But hey, who knows? I'm just a fanalist sitting here, in pajama pants and a fucking Barfly shirt. So, I mean,
hey, at least you got pants on.
Yeah, All right, last but not least, we got Mr. Ryan Kirkland Billings. KB, what's up, brother? How are you, man?
What's going on, man? See, we just having issues all over the place this morning. I'm trying to get the laptops to work, trying to sign in and stuff so I can be on this thing the right way. But man, I got to channel my inner I got to channel my AC, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day. I'm on vacation. I'm out in Missouri, man. I'm out in the backyard, just relaxing, chilling. Trying to have some breakfast and soaking in this A+ draft to me. Pace did he did the damn thing, man. We got to be excited about this draft. We got to be excited that we got a franchise quarterback, and that you got 2 hog Marleys to block from a man. So ready to get into this thing and talk about some football with you boys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We sent KB out to Missouri to go find Borom, but we'll see if he gets lucky with it or not. He's currently busy eating some fucking waffles or something. All right, well, let's start this thing off, man. I mean, should we just start from the top, right? Justin Fields. Bears make the move for a guy who, if you've seen it all over Twitter and you've seen the videos, who by almost all the scouts in the league was in the top 5 of their draft. Top 5, and he ended up, falling to us at 11. Make the move, get up there, pull him, right, and change just the reaction of the Chicago Bears for all the fans. You immediately seen people coming back, like the whole negative piece that was there forever, man, and just going and going, right? And you see all these new things with images with Cutler walking away, Mitch is on his knees, and Justin Fields is walking out. There's a lot of expectation for this kid. Not a number 1 pick, not a number 2 pick, right? Fell to 11, which kind of puts a chip on his shoulder and I'm sure pisses him off a little bit, but a lot of expectation for this kid. And you guys know, like, the city of broad shoulders carry a lot of weight, man. And to be an athlete there's always some shit that goes with it, and just people getting after you, man. Badge, we'll start this thing with you, dude. How do you feel? Obviously, I know how you feel about Justin Fields, but how do you feel about everything that's going to come with it, and whether do you give him the year off? Do you let him learn in the system, or do you throw him into the fire when shit hits the fan, and Dalton throws a pick on the last minute drive of the 4th? Are you next game throwing Fields in there?
Well, I think those are the big questions. Is, you've watched Matt Nagy now over 3 seasons handle this quarterback position. And let's be honest, quite frankly, he's fucking terrible. He pulls Mitch last season against the Falcons when, he felt he needed to go to Nick. Foles comes in, wins the game, and then for the next, 8-9 weeks, it was a freaking disaster. Yeah. Just inconsistent play from your offensive line, play calling. I think the correct approach with Justin, and the thing that you said, Bobby, that I take away from that is, you mentioned, he gets, you heard a lot of guys say 1 and 1A with Lawrence and Fields and just how good he was. Well, 10 other teams passed on him. Now, he said in his, opening press conference, or, the first time he spoke with people, he was posed that question. He said, yeah, I'm not worried about all that. I'm a Chicago Bear now. My job is to go out and win games, and any way that I can do that, yada yada yada. Great speak. But then you look at Tevin Jenkins, and the same question was posed to Tevin Jenkins, and Tevin Jenkins like, man, 38 other teams passed up on me. I'm ready to go, and I'm going after those. I'm 39th pick, so all 32 teams passed up. Justin Fields has that too. He's saying that, the right, he's keeping it PC above board. Justin Fields is ready. Now the plan with him, I think you look at the success the Chiefs had sitting Patrick Mahomes behind Alex Smith for a year. Matt Nagy was a part of that. Now this is Matt Nagy's pick. So, we assume it's Matt Nagy's pick. I think they're going to take that approach, barring some major catastrophe. If Andy Dalton goes down and Justin Fields and Tyler Bray are only other two quarterbacks on the roster.
Well, Foles is still here.
Well, I think that's just a foregone conclusion that he'll be gone, personally speaking. But, let's say Foles is still here. Are you going to start Foles or...
Talk about going flaccid, man. He came in big dick, and this dude can't get it up anymore.
Yeah, turn that 9 to a 6, buddy. So I think the right approach is to let him sit. I really do. As much as I know, you look at the games he's played in. I don't know that Chicago's ever had a quarterback that's played in the types of games that Justin Fields has played in. He's already coming into the league with this. So I don't know. I think he sits, but if he comes out and in camp he's balling, like kind of pulls like a Russell Wilson type thing.
Yeah.
Let him go, man. Why?
Yeah.
He's played top competition his whole career already.
Yeah. I'm go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say, whether it's in year 1 or year 2, I'm looking forward to the day where the Bears play the Niners and Justin Fields scores a touchdown and he goes 1, 2, 3 all the way up to 11 and shows the crowd, just like Mahomes did to us, man. But here's the deal: I think Matt Nagy, having had a front row seat in Kansas City when they sat Mahomes for a full season and Alex Smith played it out, I think that could be a telltale sign of how he wants this year to go. But to Badge's point, if in camp Justin Fields is head and shoulders QB1, I wouldn't put it past them, and they shouldn't have him be a backup. He should play. But I think the attitude's got to be err on the side of caution. The Bears have rushed quarterbacks into the role more times than they've proceeded with caution, and hopefully we can learn from some of those mistakes. But there's too many things that are going to happen between right now and week 1 that will have an impact on what happens there.
Yeah,
but and my hope is that they proceed with caution.
Yeah, me too. And I think like the stuff that they're putting out is kind of telling in a way of this kid's knowledge. You know what I mean? Because one of the first things you heard is that draft night, Nagy calls him, right, and says, hey, remember when we had you here in spring for our little interview or whatever, however it went, right? And he's like, yes, coach. He's like, what play did we run? And Fields turned around and kicked the play right back to him, the yard line, where they were, how much time was left in the game, where people end the play word for word. So I don't know if that's just them trying to hype up his intelligence level. And then on the second piece of it, you've seen that they came out with the test scores, right? And how Mahomes scored a 110 and Fields scored a 130. Whether or not you're one of the guys who take that or if you just take it with a grain of salt as being test scores, but I feel like they're already hyping up his knowledge and his, the aptitude that he has going into this thing. And who knows? I'm not opposed to him sitting, but like Badge said, and like Mike, like you said, if he comes out and he's just no doubt, hands down, destroying and has a good handle on the playbook and knows what he's doing, then why not, man? But
hey, speaking of the call, so I got to call this out, right? This is a fan show. Speaking of the call, how excited were you guys on Thursday night when right before the pick, they panned at Justin Fields' living room and the couches are empty? Because we're all thinking, how is he going to fuck this up? The Bears traded up. What has he got? What is he going to do? And we didn't need to hear anything. I think the four of us just had to see that empty couch. And then I forget who they panned to next, and the living room was full. They're all like waiting. That moment for me was just like, I think I threw my cell phone. I was like,
I know. And then right at the end of that, because obviously they were all celebrating off camera or whatever, right? But right at the end of that, I think it's his uncle or somebody who was in the room kind of comes into the shot. Yeah, and he's got a Bears hat on. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. Carrie's like, what happened? Do you like that couch? You know, like, and I'm like, no, he's the guy, you know, like.
I'm sitting here remembering this night. I bullshit you not. I can recall damn near every event. I'm sitting there looking right as the fucking Broncos take Surtain, and then the Eagles trade up and they take Smith. I'm sitting on my brother's couch and say, we need to call the Giants right now. I sent the message out on Facebook and everything. We need to call them right now. There needs to be no games played. They need to give up whatever the hell they need to give up. We need to get up. As soon as I sent that message, my brother tapped me. He said, hey, man, y'all just traded up. I said, you bullshitting. I jump up and I freak out. I didn't even need to see who we was picking. I didn't even need to see the empty room. I knew it's Justin Fields. That's all I knew. Yeah. And then I proceeded to panic. It was all downhill from there.
And let's talk about the trade, right? Like, I think we did a hell of a job of not trading away the entire future. Patience. Like last week we were talking about Pace getting all excited and I want to get to 4, and he gets rid of 3 first-round picks. Like when you look at it, it's like next year's first was really the cost here, right? Like that's the big. And if you could tell me 2 first-round picks for a generational quarterback, I do that 1,000 times out of 1,000, right? So that shouldn't be lost here either. That I think Ryan Pace did a hell of a job of, Bobby, like you said, staying patient and making a smart move to get a guy that, could have gone in the top 3 or 4 picks without a doubt.
And I think a lot of that plays into the relationships that Pace has built with other GMs and kind of knowing what they're doing or knowing like where they at. We seen him his first couple of years. He's jumping, like got to get to here, got to get to there, got to move up. I think now that he's, cultivated these relationships with other GMs and he says like how he talks to almost all of them now, that it helps him come draft day. Like, I don't need to move above Badge. I know Badge wants a wide receiver. I don't need to, if what he's telling me is correct, I know I'm good right here. So let me wait another one, and then refocus. And now I know KB's going after an offensive tackle. So let me wait. You know what I mean? And then shit, I don't know what Schaefer's doing. Like that dude ain't telling me shit. Like, hey, let's make our move now, and I think like the patience and the learning aspect, man, of being there for a while and kind of going, we're seeing a more relaxed pace where he's not that trigger happy kid, right? That's just waiting to pop off at somebody.
Yeah, I think for the first time after a Ryan Pace draft, I didn't have to Google a school to see if it actually exists, right? Like, which, something A&M that you had never heard of, right? So you can definitely tell. And I don't know, does Matt Nagy have influence? But the last 3 or 4 drafts have certainly gotten better than his first few. So we're watching a GM that's growing and developing into a role. As much as we shit on him, maybe there is some progress there. There certainly is progress there. But I wonder how much credit goes to Matt Nagy having some influence too. Look back at the beginning of this whole thing, and John Fox wasn't even allowed to know what was going on.
Yeah, he didn't tell him.
Yeah, so I think a lot of growth there, and it's definitely just such a night and day, black and white contrast from where we were just a few years ago. Yeah,
I mean, you guys know that how I've been the whole time. I don't think they're going anywhere. I definitely don't think they're going anywhere now. Justin Fields just stamped their next 4 years easily. Unless like in the next 2 seasons they end up 3-14, and just it's straight panic mode with all this talent, right? And they move them up, but I think that they're both safe no matter what. Let's move on to the next pick. Let's move on to Tevin Jenkins. A lot of people think that he's a replacement piece and that he's coming in to replace, and that Leno is going to be a post June 1 cut. That's a lot of fans, right? If you go down the analyst side, and I'm not talking about, the people who just randomly title themselves analyst. I'm talking about like the ones on actual TV and shit. But if you go down the analyst side, right, they all think that he's not going to replace him this year, that Leno's safe for another year, that Jenkins will play the right side, maybe get some games at left or a little stint here and there at left, but it's another build-up piece for him to eventually take over the left. KB, coming to you, man. What's your thoughts? Is Jenkins being thrown into the fire and playing left, where a lot of scouts and people don't think he can start out at, or is he going to go to the right side and Leno's got another year of life here in Soldier Field?
So, conventional wisdom, I would say that Leno's got another year of life. You have to look at it, man. He may be an average left tackle, but he is what he is.
Yeah.
You can put Jenkins at right tackle. You solidify your line. You got start going from left to right. You got Leno, Whitehair, Mustipher, if that's who they want to choose to leave in that center, which I think they should. James Daniels, and then Tevin Jenkins. You groom the next guy that we're going to talk about, and then you have your line. Tevin Jenkins is one of my favorite picks of this entire draft.
Yeah,
the guy, the kid is me. I sat and watched Brett Coleman, so shout out Brett Coleman, his breakdown of him. And Brett Coleman said it flat out. I feel that he could be a left tackle when he comes in. You watch his kick slide. He's timing the count so fast that he already has his step before the defender is even out of his stance. And then you see how he finishes blocks. He wants you to know you're going to get your ass whooped.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a fight with him.
He's over there like you with his face in the pancake. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Your face down, bro. You got to call this man pan. We get the eye crew now, man. Get the eye crew now. But you look at that type of anger, man. That type of play style is gonna pay dividends for this line. But as far as what I do feel that we're gonna have Leno for another year at least. And I feel that they take their time with this.
Yeah, and I'm not like so everybody that's people going back and forth in the chat and people going back and forth on social media. I'm not against the kid playing left tackle. Don't get me wrong. I just think that it's maybe like one of those Fields things. If the coaches feels he's ready to play left tackle, then cool, put him at fucking left tackle. But I just don't want to force the kid into the position. I mean, the hits coming out where his arms were too small, his arm length was too small to play left tackle. Feet, right? Like on the outside, he's not quick enough to cover those bull rushes, to cover those speed rushers off the outside. That he's more suitable as a right tackle. And the same thing, well, we'll get into Borom next, but the same thing on him. There was that he's not a tackle. At the next level, he should be a guard. Coming over to you, Badge. What you got, man?
I mean, the hate on Leno is just never going to go away until he's not on this roster, unfortunately. Yeah. This is a guy who has played and started 80 fucking games. Yeah. He's durable. He plays. A lot of times you are not going to get guys that are going to go out. He battled through like a foot injury during the season. So you're not going to find that a lot. You're going to see, I mean, you look at a lot of the left tackles in the league, they're missing time. And as much as everybody hates Charles Leno, says he's soft and he gets beat and this and that, he's average. He plays, He does what he has to do, right? Like, I'm okay with him being on this roster post June 1st. I'm okay with that. Everybody else should be too, because let's say you move Jenkins now to the left side. Leno's gone, right? So now you've got Jenkins on the left side, Whitehair, Daniels, Mustipher at center, or Daniels at center, however they decide to do this. And then you got Daniels, Whitehair, whoever at right guard, and then Effetti on the right side. Well, now one of those guys goes down, right? So now you've got Bars as depth, you've got Borom as depth, and so on and so forth. But you don't have that durability there now. And somebody that's been there every start, ever since he took over that role, he has not missed a game. Yeah. And to me, that's huge. Guys, he's not that bad. I mean, holy shit. The narrative on this fucking guy is asinine.
There is something I want to speak on.
I get it. Is he a great? No, he's not. But he's fucking serviceable, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I was going to speak on this real quick, man.
Some of these people get shit in their minds and they can't fucking let it go.
At all.
He's not that fucking bad.
The thing
Get
that
with it, people.
Folks say,
You're gonna let this fucking guy walk, and next thing you know, we got a turnstile on the left side.
Yeah,
fuck.
Somebody get badge a Leno jersey,
bruh. But it's funny because the thing that kills me is people say, "Oh, we can just throw him on the right side." I'm not too young that I remember this man started on the right side, as I recall, and it was shit ball on the right side. He was moved to the left side because Jerome Bush, however you say Bushrod, got hurt, and he came in. He just took the man's position because he was a natural left tackle.
Who are we replacing Leno with? Everybody in the chat.
The only person right now would be Jenkins. I mean,
nobody.
Or if you let Bars,
we've got no money. Our cap, we fucking owe money now. Like we need to take out a loan because we've got no fucking money with our draft picks and our undrafted free agents. So fucking, what are you gonna do? You're gonna throw fucking Jenkins out there as a rookie and hope and pray everything goes okay?
That's what they're praying
for.
I get it. But he's serviceable. He does his fucking job. He takes plays off. Who the fuck doesn't? Jesus Christ.
No, I agree with you, man. I mean, I don't think Jenkins, I know a lot of people in the chat do. Like I said, I don't think he could start at left tackle right away. I think he needs the year, man. And whether that's if you keep Leno and kind of extend him some more, I mean, he's already got money pushed to next year when he's not even going to be on the contract. So to do that again, I don't know. I'm not sure. But then again, the dude's about to have a baby. So, I mean, if you're good financially right now and you can kick more money down the road where a team's going to pay you and you don't have to play, that's not too bad of an option either. You know, I'd be like, yeah, sure, fuck it. Like, pay me till 24. But that's what we're looking at here, right? And I think all in all, Jenkins can be a beast. I think he can be an all-pro fucking right tackle. I think he can be an average left. And you're not really replacing an average left with an average left. You know what I'm saying? It's just not the game plan. Let him go where he's going to be successful, where he's going to do it. And then, you know, give him a shot at left maybe next season. But I just don't see why you should replace him like that. Let's get into the next one. Unless we got anything else on Jenkins.
I think the best case scenario is he plays on the right. Well, I was just going to say one thing, right? So yesterday, Aldo brought this up on the show with John Buffone, and I was thinking the same thing. But when the Bears traded up, they lost their third-round pick, and this is a team that has a lot of holes, and there were still a couple offensive tackles on the board that all of us had in our mocks. Guys like Eichenberg, Walker Little, Bobby, that was your guy.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that, right? So, like, Jenkins, great pick, right? I think we thought he was going in the first round. Badge, you had him going in the first round to the Bears. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? Because my immediate reaction when they had traded up was, shit, we just lost our third-round pick. What are your guys' thoughts? Like, would you be as happy if we would have ended up with a Walker Little or a Liam Eichenberg and then had that third-round pick to say, grab Anthony Schwartz out of Auburn to be the receiver, so you don't need to get dads, right? Like the pieces, everything all kind of changed there. Right. And I think we leave this draft with 2 potential day one starters where we could have had 3 potential day one starters. So I've got kind of mixed feelings on it, but I'm really curious to hear you guys' thoughts on that. That, you know, would you have been as happy or happier if we would have settled for that next offensive tackle and then been able to get a cornerback or a wide receiver in the third round that could play day one.
So
I'm good with it.
Yeah,
I'm
for
good
me,
with it.
I'm good with it too. And I like Little, right? But I think my Little pick was what, in the third round? I don't remember exactly, but who knows with his injuries, and whatever medical did, or if they didn't do, if they got a good look at him medically. The dude was supposed to be in the top 10 of the first fucking round, and then blew out his knee in 19, took the year off last year or whatever it was, right? Took the year off last year, and I don't know where he's at now. But I think all in all, right, there's every draft, man, you can kind of replay it, flip it. Like, what if we did this? What if we did that? But I think to get a guy in the second round that you were in a lot of mocks labeled to take at 20 is fucking stellar, right? And to give up a third, I wasn't really too worried about it. I think we came away with 2 day ones, right? Hands down day ones. And maybe if you were going to try to push it to 3, it wouldn't have been such, such a haul. I think our day one is better than, a lot. And I don't think that it really plays in with me.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
I basically, after Justin Fields, I couldn't have given a shit. To be like,
I was the same.
You could have drafted all defense, bro. Yeah, I wouldn't have gave a fuck, bro.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys. Like, part of it is like different perspective, and I did, like, when we traded back, I was like, fuck, I had an fuck moment, which there weren't many in this draft, so I figured I'd throw that out there and see if anybody else was fine.
I was gonna say, you remember that when we made the trade back, I said I did text the group and I said, oh, damn, we traded our third. But the trade up and still get Tevin Jenkins. Like, to me, that phenomenal. The one player I could have seen us grab, but I mean, he has a little bit of an injury history himself, would have been Trey Smith. I thought that would have been a hell of a grab in the 5th round, because his talent was a first round talent. It's just the health concerns. But this kid Borom, to see what he gave up 1 sack in 2 or 3 years, 0% pressure rate. I mean, you could have a third starter depending on how you want to push it. So, I mean, it hurts not having that 3rd round pick. It hurts, but like I said, you still walked away with 2 first round picks.
Exactly. And so let's move into Borom real quick, though, because Borom came out and said that he believes that he's a tackle in the league. Even though, like, a lot of scouts and that have all labeled him as a possible, what did they say?
Right guard.
Well, guard, but they said, like, practice squad guy, or fucking. I mean, it ain't me. I'm just telling you what they had said.
Yeah.
But they got him down as like a practice squad guy who needs to build, who has issues, who has this, who has that, right? I watched some of his tape, and granted, it's not the whole thing. It's what they wanted to show you, right? I mean, I'll just put it out there. I was watching the highlights, right? A lot of the highlights. Yeah. You don't see him get beat. And I think that's where a lot of fans, a lot of us, I mean, because that's all I am, but a lot of us get kind of misconstrued on this, because you're not, and Danny Shimon had said it, you're not watching tape if you're watching highlights.
Right.
Like, you need to watch all of it, right? And break it down and go from there. And yeah, we can get high on a guy just watching his fucking highlights. That's easy to do. But a lot of the scouts and everybody has put this kid at being a guard and saying that he's, another just mauler, another dude who's going to come in here and the defense is going to feel it. And I like the fact that we kind of went with the attitude style, right? Like, normally you always hear after the draft, well, he's a guy of good character. He's a guy of good character. Real top character guy. After this draft, you hear, like, he's a fucking beast. Like, this dude's a mauler. Like, this dude will punch your mother in the face. Like that's the type of shit I wanted. And I'm glad that this is like how we ended up with, or going down the line. And you've seen, like, Olin and Kyle Long and all these people come out saying, like, holy shit, right? But I think this is exactly what we needed. Borom, I feel, can be one of those pieces who solidify, can get up in this guard position and solidify. Mike, what's your thoughts on the pick, and what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's 0% pressure rate. You had, I believe, in the game against Alabama, 44 passing snaps, and not a single hurry, not a single hit, not a single sack. So you can't tell me that this guy doesn't have some ability to play tackle. It looks like he's just a raw dude. He's big and mean, like you said, Bobby. You know, he just needs to get a little of the athleticism down. You know, the footwork and stuff like that. So, Camel Toes comment was amazing, by the way.
What about
a little distracting.
Yeah,
I'm starting to type a response.
Well, no, I just hung up with Leno. Yeah, he's in good spirit. Looking forward to the season.
He told everybody to suck it easy.
Yeah, but I don't. You know, I'm not an analyst. I'm not smart. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But when I see statistics like that, that tells me this guy's got some potential to play the position. He did that. He performed that. It was an SEC player, right? He played against Alabama. He played against some major teams. So I'm excited to see what he can do. He's definitely a guy that I didn't really have eyes on in the pre-draft process. Like, he's a guy that when he was drafted, I had to look him up and say, who is this guy? And it looks like they picked him a lot lower than where a lot of teams expected him to go. There was a report specifically that Denver, who picked right after us, was going to take him.
Yep.
And they were also pretty excited that he had slipped down as far as he did. So it looks like it's a raw talent, big beast, mean guy that, you know, if they can fundamentally get this guy to be a little bit more fine-tuned, he can be a starter. He can be a starter year 2 potentially. And then maybe you have 2 guys, you know, anchoring your tackle positions that you didn't expect to have.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, we have offensive linemen now that weren't undrafted free agents or 7th round picks.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's kind of what that's what we're getting hyped on right now, is that we have offensive linemen that were not 7th round picks and were not undrafted free agents.
And I don't remember if I said this. We launched the show like 3 times today, and I don't remember which version I said this in. So if I said it in this version, I apologize. But this season was the first time since 1960 that the Bears spent their first 5 picks on offensive positions, 2 at tackle, right?
Nice.
I think maybe in the last few years they've done it the 3, the David Terrell year with A-Train, the Kyle Orton year. They had a couple off, but this is the first year that we've spent all the energy, the attention in those early rounds on this position and on offense. To your point, Bobby, last year we did it in undrafted free agency. We did it in the 7th round, and those guys, they're going to be good depth pieces.
Yeah.
But now we've got a legit line for the future.
Yeah, I mean, some of those guys we're talking about still starting on this line next year. So I'm not saying that it's bad, but they were diamonds, right? They're diamonds, and they're just gems. They hit on them. That it doesn't happen that often to where you're taking undrafted free agents and they're your starting offensive line the next season. You know what I'm saying? It was a reach and it hit. So, I mean, good on them for it, right? I'm just glad that they spent some picks on them, because I honestly thought that they were going to go quarterback, wide receiver, and then try to start cleaning up 3rd round, 4th round with the linemen. So I was excited that they did it, that they ended up taking them right 2nd and 4th, obviously without a 3rd. And then we seen, you know, we'll get into that a little later. We seen them come back on the UDFA side and snatch up some people. But we got a couple barroom hosts that are going to join us today and get their reaction on it. Let me kick it over to Badge for the intro, but these guys are going to come in, give us their reactions on the draft, and we'll see what they got on the table.
Yeah, guys. Vinny Parise from our new hockey show on the network, Bar Down. Vinny, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Dude.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
What's going on, man?
We got to get your thoughts, dude.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. Like, I cannot believe they actually pulled off that trade with New York and went up and took Fields. And then it was the fact that they took Fields and then used their next couple picks. What was it? 3 of the next 4 or all of the next 4 were all offensive players and guys that it's clear that they're into helping this guy develop into what we think he could actually be. So that was really, really cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The excitement, I think, for all of us here was, I said it just a moment ago. After Justin Fields, I didn't give a shit about anybody else. I thought, to me, the quarterback position was the epitome of what we needed. Vinny, you look at Tevin Jenkins, that offensive tackle in the second round. To me, I had him in my 3-round mock that we did. I had him at 20, because I wasn't sure the Bears could do enough trade up into the top 10 to get a pick, but the way it worked out perfectly. Then they do it again in the second round, trading up to get Tevin Jenkins. This guy's a road grader, man. What do you think of him?
During mock draft season, which we all read 1,000 of them from January to a couple days ago, and then we'll start reading next week because we're crazy. I saw him at the Bears at 20 a whole bunch, so I was like, oh, if they got him at 20, no one would have batted an eye. No one would have complained because it was a clear need that the Bears, other than quarterback, I think Vegas had him at a favorite taking a tackle in the first round, obviously without trading up and staying at 20. But then for Ryan Pace to trade up and get him in the second round, I was like, who is this guy? We're not used to this. Normally we're expecting kind of the lame, wrong thing to do. Well, he got his quarterback, and then he got the guy we thought would protect our quarterback in the second round. So, and you watch tape on him, he's just a beast, man. I'm so excited to see what he can do and how he can protect Fields.
Yeah,
Vinny, before you got on,
go ahead, Mike.
So before you got on today, we were talking a little bit about, who's potentially a day one starter. How long is it going to take for these guys to develop? You're a hockey guy. Sometimes your picks take 4, 5, 6 years to develop. And, you look at a draft, you get excited, but you really can't get that excited because it's going to be a long time. With Fields and Jenkins, what are your thoughts? How long do you think it's going to be until we see them on the field producing? And specifically with Fields, what would be your approach to that? Be cautious with it or throw him into the fire if he's, head and shoulders the top guy out of camp?
Yeah, there are different ways to look at it. Like when Russell Wilson was drafted in the third round, no one really ever thought he would start in his rookie year. And then boom, rookie year, Pete Carroll saw he was the better in training camp and he made the right decision. Then you got teams like the Kansas City Chiefs who have this Patrick Mahomes that, is a Texas Tech project. Kind of funny to laugh at 4 years later thinking about him as a project. Yeah, I've heard of him. He's pretty good. He sat for a whole year. I think he played week 17 of that 2018 or 2017 Chiefs season. So with the Bears, I think the best logic is always to see what you got in August and September. And if he's clearly head and shoulders above Andy Dalton, which shouldn't be too hard, you got to start him. Especially if Aaron Rodgers isn't in Green Bay and you have a clear path to winning the division title and Fields looks like he's ready, the leadership is there, the intangibles of throwing him to the fire is not going to stunt his development. I think you got to roll with him in maybe week 1. I would start him in week 1 if he's clearly the better guy in preseason, but we'll see how they go with that. As far as the tackle, I think there's no way that they're not contributing to the team very early in the season.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And I think there's a lot of the pieces that we got will be contributors, right? Like, I mean, if you guys seen it, I don't know if you guys seen it or not, but there was talk about how they're going to try to use Cohen differently, to split him out, to not just have him back there to obviously as a gadget guy, but to kind of use him differently. And then the whole wide receiver debacle, right? Behind A-Rob and behind Darnell Mooney, like we got guys that we want to trade. We got guys that punch people out on the field. We got guys that were drafted that we haven't seen them since, draft day. So there's a lot of places I think that we filled. Is there any spots for you, Vinny, that you wanted to see, that you thought that we should get better at, that you thought we should draft that Pace didn't do, or anything, because I'm a both sides of the fence guy, right? So what did Pace do wrong in your opinion, if anything? What did we not get that we should have got?
I hate giving Ryan Pace credit because it's been a disaster for the last 2 or 3 years now. But I liked the draft a lot. When we were going in, it was quarterback. Obviously, that's been an issue for half a century. Offensive line, he drafted 2 of them. One of them he got like way later than people expected this guy to go. And then one of them he kind of reached for a little bit in most people's opinion. But it was also that, and then a cornerback. And they drafted one. It's not like a super early round, but if you look at the projections, he was supposed to go a little sooner than he did. So really those 3 positions were key for me. And I'm kind of glad that they drafted a wide receiver. So I have really no issue with the position decision-making as far as who he drafted based on what they play on the field.
Yeah, I mean, hands down, I think all of us. It's a tough question, man, because all of us know Pace killed this draft. You know what I mean? We know that he did. We know he came out and he did it. And just to, I guess, not be negative, but to kind of see like what else we could have snatched up, right? I mean, I had told the guys before, and I just seen somebody put it in the chat, but I wanted a developmental linebacker. I wanted a linebacker, you know, to go behind Danny. To be there, right? To kind of to groom and move up. But I'm not upset that we didn't get him. I think we can hit on more, right? And I wanted, you know, this is, I guess, undrafted free agent wise, but I wanted another quarterback. I wanted a camp quarterback. We don't have a camp quarterback when we haven't. I mean, Tyler Bray, fuck him, right? But he's not there anymore. And you're going to put Foles in camp? He's not going to camp. You're like, you know, you're not going to put Fields as a practice squad quarterback. You're not going to put fucking Dalton. So who are you using as a practice squad quarterback at this point? And who another kid that could come in and sit next to Fields and learn everything at the same time? If you're going to teach one, teach 2, you know, and continue on the road. So that's just some things I thought that we could do, but it's nothing that missed in the draft, I would say. It's just maybe today, yesterday, today, right? And to get better long-term, because, I mean, let's be honest. Dalton and Foles, after this season, are fucking gone, right? So who's behind Fields? Nobody. Like, we're sitting with nobody right now. So there was just some longevity things that I was looking for, I guess.
Absolutely. That makes
Newman get drafted.
Go ahead, Mike. I didn't.
That's a good question. I was just gonna say. I mean, our KB's question question about Jamie Newman. I think
he went undrafted.
Yeah, so there could still be some guys out there, but I think both of those things are things that can be addressed next draft or next season, right? You know,
Sure.
we're talking about the long haul now at this point, and we, and to your point, Bobby, we're looking for little things right now, because we all agree that he hit a grand slam this draft. But, you know, I think both of those things, you know, our first pick next year could be the developmental linebacker, you know, or the linebacker maybe that steps in day one to replace Danny T. So all in all, though, man, I mean, if you look across the board, these picks, I think there were few, if any, picks that were projected to go lower than or higher or lower. He outperformed. I don't know. Math, never a good thing. That's why when we talk salary, I just turn my screen off. But you know what I mean? Like he did well across the board. It's nitpicky to call out.
It is.
Those things, but
Definitely is. And I mean, I don't want to be here just fucking straight, you know, pumping smoke up Ryan Pace's ass, but the dude did a great fucking draft.
Yeah.
I think he was actually graded, you know, by the professionals as one of the top, you know, drafting GMs this year. And so
Sam Ellinger went to the Colts.
He did.
He did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ellinger went to the Colts.
Ellinger went to the Colts. Okay, I thought so.
Was there somebody commented on it?
Yeah, I saw somebody in the chat say that Newman and Ellinger went undrafted, but I thought Ellinger went to the Colts.
Yeah.
I'm not a Jamie Newman fan, so I
Newman's
got
down
to
with the
see him
Eagles
in
anyway.
person. But, you know, if he's just sitting there and learning, I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So Vinny, back over to you, man. You know, we'll wrap this thing up with you, but is this Bears squad Super Bowl bound? I mean, we've been a playoff team 2 of the last 3 years. Justin Fields is on the field, taking the reins. Is this team Super Bowl bound?
Yeah, and just to touch on what you said about the quarterback really quick, if I'm them, I'm taking one every year.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be first, second, third round. You have Fields, that's great. You can't act like you're this quarterback factory now just because you have Justin Fields. You've been awful at the position for the last 50 years. Draft the Ian Books of the world or something in the 5th, 6th, 7th round going forward. But as far as the Super Bowl question, it's a no for me on being a Super Bowl team right now, just because I haven't seen what
Size defense.
yeah, exactly. What are they going to be able to be a turnover type defense? Are they going to be able to stop the run? There's a new defensive coordinator coming in. There are so many different things that can impact the whole thing. And then the offense, of course, with Justin Fields. Is Andy Dalton going to play at all? Will Aaron Rodgers be in Green Bay? I really think the Rams have a good chance. That division, the West, is insane to me. And then, of course, Tampa Bay is bringing back like one of the highest percent of a Super Bowl roster returning ever. And so if they come back and are super strong next year, I won't be surprised. New Orleans, not too worried about them in the long term. But then again, they're always the Saints, so they'll always figure it out. So as of right now, no, I like their chances in the division if I keep bringing up Aaron Rodgers just because that's so huge. If he doesn't play, that changes the entire landscape of the division. I'm looking at it right now with Minnesota. They had an okay draft, but I don't necessarily see them as hands above the Bears, so they could be right there with them. There's the extra game this year that I also think will impact things.
Yeah.
So right now I'm going no on the Super Bowl thing, but I definitely think they could challenge for a playoff spot. Did they announce if there's the extra team this year? Are we keeping 7 teams in each conference?
I don't
think they've officially. I don't think they've officially said anything about it.
Even if they're not doing that, I still think they'll have a chance. But it might come down to winning the division because that NFC West is insane.
Yeah. I mean, if Rodgers holds his cards and doesn't fucking come back, I think the division is definitely up in the air, right? Yeah. If he decides to come back, well, then you got to fight in that division and go, right? And we all know who the favorite would be. But I think, if he holds to his guns, and we all know, like that dude's fucking stubborn too, and if he holds to his what he said and doesn't come back, I think that division is definitely up in the air, and who knows what it could be. Can Andy Dalton be the fucking the king of the North and basically take this Bears to an NFC North title? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't believe that he could, but if for some reason Fields is ready and Fields is on the field and we're going right, and he comes out just as we all expect, I think there's no doubt in my mind that the Bears fucking take this division. I think the size, the defense we're going to have to see. I know we'll get into it here, later on in the show, but I really like the defensive pickups that we had, right? I think Graham's a fucking baller, dude. And those of you who don't know, I mean, you check it out, but Graham and JJ, Jalen Johnson and Graham, they've known each other since they were sophomores in high school. They played against each other. They've been boys. They went to camps together. And one of the first things he said was he can't wait to get back and be on the same team together and get this running. So he said, they pushed each other for years in competition. So I think that's a great pickup, man. I like what he did anyway. And I think that, you have a one of your boys that you were a kid with. You weren't even fucking driving a car yet. You know what I mean? And you're on the same NFL team now. There has to be some additional fire added to that and to that pick. And I can't wait to see him on the field, man.
Absolutely. That should be real fun. I'm looking forward to it because, like you said, it could be just so up in the air. And it's going to be interesting to see the Bears compete. Like last year, we saw what Herbert did with the Chargers.
Yeah.
And if Fields could just be one of those good rookie quarterbacks that we see come out 1 or 2, maybe 3 every year, then there's absolutely no reason the Bears can't be competitive. I know it's a tough schedule because it's a second place schedule, and they're going to play the Bucs, and they got the Rams again. I think they're playing the entire West again, if I recall correctly, which is tough. But it should be fun for sure.
Yeah. Hey, brother, why don't you let everybody in the chat know what you got coming out? I mean, I know you got the Crosstown coming. We got your hockey. Why don't you let everybody know where they can follow you? Well, that's right there on the screen. But, you know, some people are just they're audio listeners. So let them all know, and we'll let you get out of here, brother. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. It was a lot of fun talking football with you guys. I'm a big fan. The hockey show, Bar Down Blackhawk Talk, every Wednesday. Me and my brother Joey, we host it. We yell at each other. We complain about things. We debate National Hockey League topics. So it's a good time every Wednesday, 2 p.m. That's hockey. And then we just announced yesterday publicly, we've been working on it for a couple weeks now, Crosstown Crosstalk. It's going to be very similar to Bar Down in terms of Bar Down's focus is obviously the Blackhawk because it's a Chicago network. Right. But we try to dive into the entire NHL for at least a third of the show just to give the average Chicago sports fan some insight into the NHL. Well, that's kind of what our goal is going to be with Crosstown Crosstalk. We'll be, you know, Cubs and White Sox focused, of course, because we're a Chicago network and we're Chicago guys. But we also want to give the average baseball fan some insight into what's going on around the MLB. So if someone on Tampa Bay throws a no-hitter, you know, we'll dive into some other teams and stuff too. So we're going to try and go over each division and what – because I think it'll help a White Sox and a Cubs fan too, because you play those other divisions and you see them, and I think it's just more fun to be a fan having a little extra insight on the whole landscape of the league. So I think that's kind of the point of both shows.
Absolutely, man. Can't wait to get them going and you know, to give a listen or a watch. If you're in the chat, give him a follow. Give Vinny and Joey a follow. You know what I mean? Just check them both out. It's at Vinny, Vinnie, Parise, Parise on Twitter. Check them out. Get over there and you know, it's just, you know, holding down two sports like MLB and NHL, man, you're going to be a busy man. I don't know if you know what you dug yourself into, brother.
I know. And then I'm doing football writing for my other job. So it's a lot, especially right now with hockey playoffs coming up and the MLB season really getting hot and, of course, draft season. So it's been crazy, but it's been real fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, brother, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us today. Look forward to everything you're bringing to the network, man. And thanks again, brother.
Awesome. I appreciate all you guys. Enjoy the rest of your show, okay?
All right. Thanks, brother.
Take care, brother.
All right, boys, let's get into the later rounds. You know, we'll get into Herbert. Let's get into some of these other pickups. Daz Newsome, like we talked about Graham. I think he's the steal. I get it that I'm saying later round steal because obviously I think Tevin Jenkins and Fields were fucking steals. Like, there's no way. Like, Ryan Pace was just out there robbing motherfuckers for this draft, dude. But I think Graham's a big pickup. And I honestly think that he can get out there and do it, man. What are your thoughts, KB? You know, where are you at on the later parts of the draft? You know, maybe your favorite pick out of those dudes?
Oh, my favorite pick has to come between Daz and Thomas Graham, man. I actually sat and watched all of Daz Newsome's catches for the past 2 years or the past 2 seasons. When I say that kid is a baller, and them saying that he ran a 4.57 is fuck no, not even close. You can see this kid catch slants and he leaves people. This is somebody I would legit expect to come in and push to have the starting slot position. Like, he seems to be that explosive. But then on the other hand, you look at somebody that's on the ilk of the Thomas Graham kid. Lord, fourth in production. The kid he's probably the best ball hawking DB in this draft, and he sat out this past year because of COVID.
Yeah,
bro, if this man played and he kept that up, you're looking at a second or third round pick, and we got him in the 6th. Those 2 picks have me like jumping over the moon right now. I'm very excited about Daz Newsome. Daz Newsome to me is a baller, but Thomas Graham is very, very intriguing. That is a very intriguing player.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, I think he could be an immediate competition to Duke Shelley and Kendall Vildor in the slot. You know, to KB's point, didn't play this last season, but as a sophomore and as a junior, he's one of the top 10 cornerbacks in the country. So it's just another example of a guy that I think Pace stole away. I think he's a guy that can step in from day one. I think maybe he's a little undersized, but if he's playing that slot role, I think he can be a contributor from the get-go. In fact, if we were to say, okay, you got 2 guaranteed possible day one starters and then pick one from the rest of the lot, he'd be my guy for sure.
Mhm.
That could surprise, have an amazing camp, and then be on the field week 1. So, big school, he played at Oregon. I think his dad played at USC. He had ties to USC and he was planning on going there, and then something kind of went sideways at the last second. He ends up at Oregon, but big stage, not afraid of it. He could be a guy we see on the field early this year.
Yeah, I'm on Herbert. I really like that pick, especially in the kick return game. Obviously, Tariq Cohen coming off an ACL. So I would kind of be hesitant to have him back right away to start the season, returning kicks and even punts. I mean, it was a punt that he got hurt on, right? I believe that he tore the ACL. He got hit low as he was trying to pivot. So to see them go and grab somebody that can kind of fill that void until they're definitely sure that Tariq is fully 100%. I can't really hate on that, and he's explosive. Speedster, and I really think that he's somebody that in the special teams game could make an impact right away.
Yeah, and they got 2 guys that could. Sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say they got 2 guys that can make an impact immediately in special teams. Daz Newsome could be your punt specialist, and because he did that at North Carolina. So as pissed off as we were about losing Patterson, I said it, I said it a while ago that that's a lot of money to pay a guy to be a special teams specialist, and when you're against the cap, like sometimes you can't afford those luxuries. And so I think Ryan Pace did a great job in the draft of finding not just 1, but 2 guys that could potentially fill that role at far less cost and potentially save Tariq from another injury, right? So like they're in the moment, like, you get pissed off about things, but when you take a step back and you look at the forest and not the trees, wow, I went there. But you do want to. I think both of those guys, they could be big time special teams contributors week 1. So
yeah, that's a great point, man. I didn't even think about Daz's return ability. That's a really good point, Mike. I just the whole draft. I mean, you sit here and look what they did, and then you see some of the list of the possible undrafted free agents that they've got out there. Right now, guys, I want to bring in our buddy Joe Mandel. Joe. I mean,
what's up?
What's good, Joe?
Hitman Fantasy Football Goon. Joe, what's up, man? How you doing, bud?
What's going on, boys? Happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me on this beautiful first Sunday of May.
Right? Yeah.
Can't beat it,
we're talking late round picks, Joe, before we get into the early guys. Which of these guys late, really stood out to you that you were like, okay, yeah, I like it.
Dude, I know a lot of people don't love it, but I'm a big fan of the Daz Newsome pick. That kid can tear you up with some speed, and I think that's going to add a second element to this offense. And I think pairing him with Fields in the long run, I think that could be a really nasty duo right there.
Mr. Two Scoops, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Bobby, what's going on, bud?
Sorry, man. I had to go get myself a drink. I was over here just chugging them away, so I had to go get something. I come back and look at the double scoops is here.
Is that what we're calling it now?
What's that? A drink? I mean, look.
Dos Manos.
I got all kinds of shit here.
I was gonna say it's not just one drink. You got a couple.
No.
I'm slacking right now.
Yeah, got to double it up. But Daz Newsome, man, yeah, I like the pickup now. Is he a slot guy to you, or is he an outside guy? Like, which side is he starting off as a special team guy? Because there's been a lot of back and forth throughout, I guess reviews of the pick and people talking about the pick who say some of them are hands down, no, he's a slot guy. Some of them are, no, he's an outside big body guy, give him the edge. Obviously, I don't think he's taking the top off, but then again, he's a big dude. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I see him more as a slot guy personally. I think that speed's going to really help him there. He could eventually be the outside guy, but I think there's so many proven guys on our team right now that have that role. I'd like to see him in the slot. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think he's potentially going to start off as punt returner, kick returner, get thrown in there, but. The thing that bothers me, right, and nothing against Newsome. I like him. Bad, just facial expression. I like him, but I just like, why can we work out Ridley already? Like, can we get something going with him? Can we fucking make this kid into something? I've heard all the knocks. I heard he doesn't understand the playbook. He doesn't know how to do this. Doesn't know how to do that. I just don't know, man. I think like. If he does come in, say Newsome does come in, so Ridley, Wims, Miller, 3 dudes that really, what are we doing with them? Where are they at on this team? Do we see a Miller trade here shortly? I don't know. I think we're past that point.
I think maybe.
Yeah, I think we're past it too. What? With Miller, this is his contract year, so let's use him for it, right? Like, let's get everything we can get out of the guy. And then if you cut him loose, you cut him loose. Yeah.
Yo, this chat is up.
He's got to play his ass off.
This chat is up fire. I know Mule. I got it, brother. I know Mule doesn't seem to really like anything that's going on today. But love that you're here, man. But and I'm all down for the input. But I was laughing at Zach's comment of that's what she said. I'd like to see him in the slot. All right, let's move it back. Obviously, it's probably Fields, right? But your number one pick. Tell us what you see in Fields. What does he bring to this team, and is he starting this year?
Oh man, well, I don't think he's going to start the year. Obviously, it seems like Pace doesn't want him to start the year out, and I think maybe that's kind of what they feel they did with Trubisky. They kind of rushed him. I don't know. Personally, I think you're going to see Andy Dalton start at least 4 games. But I'm imagining that's going to go exactly like all of us imagine it's going to.
Yeah.
It's going to be just like Glennon 2.0, except with, I guess Glennon was kind of ginger too, wasn't he? So, I mean, it's a ginger party. And after that, I think Fields is going to be the guy from week 4 and on. And I'm going to say it, man. I think if they put these pieces together and these guys really gel, maybe they put together a little run and they sneak in the playoffs on the back end. I'm not predicting a Super Bowl or anything of that caliber, but Justin Fields, he's explosive back there. I think he's the most explosive, one of the most explosive players in the draft, and I'm excited he's a Chicago Bear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you make it into the playoffs, man, anything can happen.
That's it. You got to get in.
I think now that the offense is like the part that I don't like, right? And it's not really against you. It's just, I want to make a decision and fucking roll with it. If you're going to sit the kid for a year, sit him for a year. I don't want to hear this shit that they are already started with. Andy Dalton's our starting quarterback. Dalton is our starting quarterback. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to hear that shit until all you see on Twitter and all you see on our shows and these shows are get fucking Fields in there, right? And whatever. And then the organization gets put into a predicament where they're like, oh, I guess we just got to put him in, and go from there. I would just rather, I don't know, man. It's tough. If Fields comes out and they think that they're going to start him, I just fucking start the kid.
I'll tell you what, his IQ is through the roof, Bobby, and that's got me really excited about that. So,
well, you guys think about this, right? Him and Dalton are both coming in at the same time, learning this offense in essence, and the only one with experience currently in it is Nick Foles. So, I mean, it very easily could be Justin Fields' job to win. because they're coming in at the same time, and you've already heard how smart he is.
Right.
You know, Joe, let's say he is the starter week 1, and I'm going to kind of turn it to the fantasy angle of this, right? So Justin Fields is your starting quarterback week 1. What would a projection be for a rookie quarterback coming in week 1 that is a little bit realistic? Is this something where you could see him coming in and not missing a beat and going 300 yards, 4 touchdowns through the air, 57 yards rushing, a touchdown on the ground? You know, what can we expect?
Yeah, personally, I think if Justin Fields is the starting quarterback from day 1, he's a top 10 fantasy quarterback. And let me tell you why. I don't think he's going to blow up the scoreboard with receiving yards. With passing yards, excuse me. I think he's going to throw between 250 and maybe 275 a game. But he's going to I'd say he could rush for upwards of 75 to 80, maybe 100 yards a game. He's going to rush for a touchdown, maybe 2, and he's going to throw for at least 1. So, I mean, when you factor that all together, you get that kind of dual threat almost, and I hate to make this comparison, but fantasy comparison to Michael Vick back in his prime. You know, this is a guy that was using his legs. He's using his arm, especially if you have a league where you get points for completions. I think he's going to be an accurate quarterback because I don't think he's going to be throwing bombs, at least to start his career. So I think this kid could be a top 10 fantasy quarterback. And if you're drafting him, I wouldn't have a problem if he gets that starting role. Obviously, I wouldn't have a problem drafting him between the 7th and 8th round. At least right now, in my head, that's where I'm at.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up because that's something that worries me. I mean, we all knew that Mitch could run, that Mitch could move the ball, he can get downfield with his feet, and I mean, Nagy came out and put the fucking Forrest Gump leg locks on his ass and basically told him, you're going to throw. And Mitch came out and had said it that they kind of, told him like, hey, we don't want you running anymore. If that's a thing that Nagy does with Fields, I think you're crippling part of this kid's talent, like 60% of this kid's talent. You know what I mean? And you're limiting how special and how much he can take over a game if you're constantly telling this kid, hey, we don't want you to run. We don't want you to run. I mean, these are young players who come in and they want to perform well for their coach. They want to perform well for their organization, and they're doing what they're fucking told. You know what I mean? And if they're constantly being told not to run or told that, hey, we just want you to throw, whatever, I think you're limiting what this kid can do. And that's the one part of this whole thing with Fields that scares me. And it's not Fields, it's fucking Nagy, like limiting his ability.
I could be totally wrong, but I feel like this is different though, because Nagy selected Fields for who he is, right? Versus Trubisky, which was given to him. Yeah. And he wanted to make him who he wanted to make him. But, and I can't get into Matt Nagy's head. So he may, mess up Fields, or he may do that same thing. But I just feel like this is a little bit different because he knows what he's getting, and he picked it. He opted in to Justin Fields, right? But time will tell.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I know he did, and you're right. I mean, it's all going to come down to it and see what we got and what they allow him to do. But we know Nagy has said that he's running the offense, and like it is with everything, man. Yeah, time will tell, and we'll see where we go from there. Joe, what's your thoughts on the Tevin Jenkins pickup and the basic, the monster of the midway, this black and blue offensive line that we're building right now?
Yeah, man, I love the pickup there. I love the kid's mental state when it comes to football. I mean, he just wants to destroy everybody. He's the perfect Chicago Bears offensive lineman. Yeah. This is a guy that wants to tear you apart. Everything he says is exactly what we want to hear. And you just feel so lucky that we were able to trade up and get him where we did. What are you laughing at, Batch?
No, just in our chat.
Just a comment.
Okay.
The chats are on fire.
Sorry.
Today.
Yeah, the chats are great today, man.
I feel like the kid in class that couldn't keep a straight face. He's always laughing at the class clown and then gets in trouble for it. Like I can't sit still.
Okay, the point we at, man, we're gonna be spitting out drinks all over the damn place. Looking at these chats, bro. It's crazy.
I know.
Hey, man, that's good. We love that chat engagement. but I'm just happy that this offensive line is coming together. But I think eventually, these could be really dominant guys all together, once they get things going. So, the pick up there in the second round, I'm just excited to see him tear people apart. And I like what he had to say. Like, no matter what, I keep my quarterback upright. If I got to hold him, if I got to knock him down, I'm not going to let this guy take my quarterback down.
Yes.
And with a guy like Justin Fields, you get a new young kid like this that obviously, he's going to be a high priority for this team. You want to keep him upright. And that's the first thing I wanted to hear. So I was just happy to see that. I'm excited about this offensive line. I'm excited about this draft and what Pace has done. So let's just hope that Matt Nagy can orchestrate this thing and maybe all of a sudden do a complete 180. That's what I'm looking forward to, and fingers crossed on that front.
Yeah, and I mean the comment on where he said, if somebody hits my quarterback after the whistle, that's not my quarterback's problem. That's my fucking problem. I was like,
dude,
oh,
awesome.
man, like Jesus, and I think, we're all excited, and we're excited for good reason, right? Like, hands down, the Bears have been labeled as one of the best drafting teams this year. And I know the other teams and the haters, Detroit's and Green Bay fans, and even some of our own fans are going to find negativity in it, and they're going to find a way to spin it to not make it look bad, but to question it and talk shit about it, man. I'm just happy with the way the whole weekend played out, right? I'm happy with the undrafted free agents that we're bringing in, and I think it's a change. There's like a change in the fucking air of here we go, right? And then there's people still talking about Mitch, still saying, well, Mitch got paid $2.5 million to go to Buffalo. That's fucking pennies. So let's not act like this dude had all kinds of people banging down his door and trying to get him. Did I like Mitch? Sure. Because he was our fucking quarterback. And that's, I'm not a dude who's going to shit on everybody on the team or say this guy, that guy needs to go, whatever. I'm not a coach. Not in the fucking NFL. Let these guys make their decisions. Let these guys plug and play people where they want to, and let's go from there. How it pans out is whatever, but we're looking at a GM and a coach that we're on, according to a lot of people, we're on the hot seat and we're about to be fucking gone. And now look where we're at. Now we're looking at naming him the best fucking GM of the draft this year. And if we went off of what everybody said, man, where would we be sitting? You know what I mean? I just feel, what do you think about the whole, how long has Nagy and Pace solidified their spot in Chicago with the Justin Fields pick?
For me, I don't think you can officially say anything. And yeah, I think Pace has solidified his status. But let's be honest, we all think he's been extended already, right? Because they haven't talked about his contract.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's been extended already. Let's be honest. Matt Nagy, though, I think Matt Nagy's still kind of hanging on a shoestring, depending on what he does this season, especially with a new young quarterback. If Fields comes to management after the season is like, I don't want to work with this guy, or halfway through the season, then let's be honest, Nagy's gone. But I think Pace is here to stay, especially after this draft and after not commenting on contract negotiations and stuff. I mean, he's been avoiding it like it's the plague. So clearly he's been extended. So I think Nagy's in trouble, though, unless he can have a good year.
I think Nagy's safe too, dude, and I'll tell you why. So I think he's safe. I agree with you on Ryan Pace. I don't think Pace is going anywhere. But I think Matt Nagy will be given at least 2 more seasons. That's this season and then the next season, because he'll have Fields as his starter finally for 1 year. Now, if that first season things don't go well, then I could totally see them cutting ties with him. But, I mean, I still don't trust Nagy, but I hope, and oh God, I just got to believe they're going to do this right. I can't take this anymore.
Me either, brother.
All right, Joe. So give me your late round guy, right? Your late round guy that you think is an immediate impact. Immediate impact, either a steal, whatever, but you see him on the field day one, ready to go. Because we know how Pace is with these late rounders, man. And some of them some of them show out in camp, dude, and they're camp champs, and they come out and fucking start right off the bat. Who's your late rounder that's just a beast, and you think he's starting day one?
Yeah, so I mentioned when I first came on that I love the Daz Newsome pick, but
Yes, yeah.
I'm not 100% sure that he's going to be a main starter. But I do think that Thomas Graham, though, is the steal of this draft. I think he's a great corner, and I expect him to at least challenge for a potential starting position. He can really play out there. So that's kind of where I think between those two guys, between Newsome and Graham, I like what they did in the late rounds.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever said that about a Bears draft. There's been some good years where there's been late rounds, but I feel overall this whole draft was solid from top to bottom. So those are the two guys I'm looking at. But obviously, I'm a fan of the Fields pick. But for me, just getting, going at number 2 and getting Tevin Jenkins, I mean, that's the highlight of the draft for me because I just love getting Chicago Bears like players, and he fits the mold to a T.
I just got to say this on the whole Mitch thing. Who's Mitch? What do we give a fuck about Mitch for? He's gone.
Yeah.
That era is over. We're in a new era.
Agree.
Yes, there was a dude at the Sox game last night wearing a Trubisky Bills jersey, believe it or not. So
is it Steven Zimmerman?
I don't know who it was, but he was sitting next to a guy in a Grandal jersey, and I was dying.
Has Mitch jumped through a table yet?
I don't know, but one of their draft picks yesterday did.
I was gonna say I know what they draft picks did.
Yeah, that was the first thing he did. That's fucking awesome, though, And honestly, I know this ain't a Bills show, but dude, I fucking like the Bills fans, and I like the way that they bring fire to the game, and you know what, like. Whatever. Like, I just think it's fucking cool, and I like watching it. So fuck everybody else.
Too.
I'm with you, man. Hey, Frank Manor brought up a good point in the chat. So he had mentioned that Danny wasn't too high on the Jenkins pick.
Yeah,
Danny doesn't like anybody.
Somewhere along the way, he had heard, or there was a vibe that he doesn't love football.
Yeah. Where
did that come from? I didn't see what he had said. Did you guys see that? Like, is there any more below the surface of that, or is that a he said type of a deal?
I seen it, and I think it was something I forget, because this was when a couple weeks ago I seen it. It was him saying, I can't word for word it. It was him saying something along the lines of number one priorities and stuff, right? And football wasn't there, but he already came out and said, like, look, I love the fucking game. I wouldn't have been in the draft if I don't love the game. I get it, and then I seen kind of them move away from that, right? And then start talking, not Danny, but start talking about, arm length and his feet, and he like getting up and down out and stuff like that, and movement, if he can move left to right, and if he has I'm not here to knock the dude, right? Like, you just got drafted in the NFL and you're fucking crying. You love the game, right? You're not fucking crying because you're wondering what your paycheck's going to be. You're not crying because, you know what I'm saying?
I cry if I knew what my paycheck was and I was in the NFL. I'm getting paid to do what I want to do, and it's millions of dollars.
No, I would cry. Don't lie, because you'd be on
cry
a vet,
every day, but it's not.
You'd be like me on a vet minimum, crying because we can't get fucking paid. Get the hell out of here. But I like, we'll see, right? With everything he's saying all the right things right now. And there's like no filter for him right now, right? So if that was the case, I just don't see it, man. I think he's a beast and ready to play the game, dude.
Agreed.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's kind of why I asked, because I just, based on what he said, like all of his post-draft comments, like nothing gives off a vibe that this guy doesn't absolutely love the fucking game.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. So, and I thought Ryan Pace did a great job with the draft, but here's my question. So now, granted, it was late Thursday night, obviously moving up to 11, but they wait to do the interviews with the GM till after the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Pace comes on. He's got his hair looks super gray. I thought, holy shit, he looks like he's been through freaking Like he just got his ass whooped, and now he's come back to here to talk to everybody after the fact. Do you think this had weighed on him since at some point in the season, like, man, I got to do something, and finally he was it because he looked a lot better yesterday than he did Thursday night.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a pride thing for him. I would imagine. I mean, if you go on any news site, any sports site over the last year and a half, just absolutely panning Pace and Nagy. You know, this guy, I'm sure he's had this on his calendar marked with a big red box as this is the day I'm going to show people why I'm the GM of the Chicago Bears. And I think that's what he's trying to do. You know, I think he wanted to have a draft where, you know, people can stop harping on him. And I'm going to be honest, I don't have any complaints about it. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. Obviously, we'll wait and see how it pans out. But he knew he had to step up big time. And in my opinion, he did.
So
Maybe.
I was gonna say
sorry,
Bleacher
go ahead,
Report just had something come out saying that Bears to ease Fields slowly. Chicago will rush their first round quarterback and believe veteran Andy Dalton can get them back into the playoffs. Thoughts?
I think they have to say that, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think the team's got to, you know, go the safe route, and they're going to err on the side of caution, just like I think we're expecting them and wanting them to. You can't go back on saying, you know, they sent out a tweet, QB1, you know, with Dalton's picture. You're not going to do an about face at this point. But, you know, I was going to say too that the looks of of relief, even yesterday in the press conference, Matt Nagy looks like a changed man. You know, we were ragging on him for looking like a cheap lawyer in the that last
the Lincoln lawyer.
With that suit that didn't fit him. I don't know if it was Clovers or Robbie that called that out. I thought that was funny. But even him, man, he looks like he's got that renewed confidence, and he should, because he's got some talent on the offensive side of the ball. Now he just has to execute. So, I think Pace has to feel that sense of relief that, okay, maybe I've overcome that hurdle. You know, we talked about his development early in the show today, and it's evident, it's clear. And, you know, you don't know what's happening below the surface, whether it's support from scouts, whether it's support from Matt Nagy in some of these drafts, who knows? But, you know, he's gotten remarkably better at, you know, the draft from top to bottom, as Joe said.
No forced smiles, huh?
So I want to know, like, you saw people putting their reactions up to the Justin Fields picks, like recorded videos and whatnot. So I was sitting here in my man cave waiting, and it got to be pick 7, pick 8, and Fields was still there. At 9, I got this feeling like, holy shit, is it really a possibility that we're going to fucking get this guy? Like, is it really possible? So the Broncos go, then who was it? The Eagles that moved up, right? And I'm like, holy shit, are the Eagles taking another fucking quarterback? They can't be. So then they make their, I'm like, no way. No fucking way. And like KB said, he put something out. I didn't. I was just sitting here. I just had this feeling. And they pulled the trigger. Now, here on the East Coast, it was probably like 9:45 or whatever. And I probably woke up 90% of the people that live within a 3-mile radius of me, because I fucking lost it. Man. I could not believe it. Polar opposite of my Mitch reaction when he was drafted. Mike, how were you, man?
Yeah, same deal, man. I mean, it was kind of shock, right? When those picks started to happen. Devontae Smith, I think, was the pick to Philly, and it was like, all right, if it's happening, it's going to happen now. And as soon as my screen changed from blue to orange, I didn't even see it said Bears, but I saw the orange color top, and that's when the trade was official. I didn't think to record, but Badge, you said you did record?
No, I did not record. They announced it, and I let out a fuck, and
Yeah.
my cat, who was sitting comfortably next to me, fucking bolted.
I think my brother might have recorded me.
I got to
think he
record.
might have.
Oh, I
Because
didn't
he-
record my reaction. No,
He told me, he said it would make, I would die laughing if they said Mac Jones is seeing your reaction. And I just turned and looked at him, like, why would you say that, man? Like, come on, dog.
Yeah, right before.
Right
Yeah.
before. I
thought-
just couldn't take it.
Dude, I was on the same thing. I thought they were going to take Mac Jones, and honestly, this proved to me that Pace is doing his own thing, because I thought Pace was going to take Jones because he knew the Patriots wanted Jones.
Oh.
And he had, you know what I mean? Like, had this piece in his head, and I mean, we were all, Justin Fields. Come on, Fields. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Eddie Jackson was live saying, fucking,
right.
better be Justin Fields, or he said it better be Mac Jones or Justin Fields, right? So he was happy with either one. But even Eddie Jackson's live reaction, if you're in the chat, let us know what you guys thought about that, where Eddie Jackson, quote unquote,
Finally,
said
we got a quarterback, bro.
finally got a quarterback. And that's after you have Nick Foles on the roster. You have Andy Dalton on the roster. You had the kid that we no longer speak of, who's now in Buffalo. You had all these people, and you got Eddie Jackson live saying, we finally have a quarterback. I mean, as a fan wise, where does that sit with you guys, to where one of your defensive players just comes out and fucking says that? Joe, I mean, over to you, dude. What does it mean when a player on your team, you're Andy Dalton? Fuck it. Let's go backwards here. You're Andy Dalton right now. You see that clip. Where's your head at?
I just think I have a lot of work to do with my teammates, man. I think I got to get in there with these guys, and gain their respect, because these guys, they saw Andy Dalton's film from last year, and I'm sure that's what's in Eddie Jackson's head. That team couldn't get anything going with Andy Dalton, and look at all the talent he had around him.
Yes.
So Andy's got a big task ahead of him. He's got to get the respect of this locker room and this coaching staff. So if I'm Andy Dalton, it's not any skin off my back, because I knew I have terrible film out there. I know I have a ton of talent around me, and I couldn't do jack last year. So, I have a lot of work ahead of me, and I know that. So if I'm Andy Dalton, whatever, I just got to go and do my job. And I think that's what Andy should do.
Yeah, he's getting paid $10 million. I mean, shit.
Right. I mean, that's the second part of it.
Get her done.
Yeah.
If you're like that and you have no desire to actually, you're just happy you got the contract, then you're like, well, fuck him. I'm still getting paid $10 million, right? I'm getting paid more than you are, Eddie. I mean, even though you're not. But hey, for 1 year, like, I don't know, man. I just think I like it. Don't get me wrong. I'm down. Like, fuck it. Call him out. Put him on the spot. Tell him, like, hey, I got this rookie who has never taken a snap in the NFL. And now I'm saying that we finally got a quarterback. Oh, and guess what? My fucking number 2 is a Super Bowl MVP. But fuck off. I finally got a quarterback now. So for me, it's kind of – go ahead.
I was going to say, man, the way you got to look at it, man, you come in on a 1-year contract. Nobody's stupid. We're going to look at that. You're not going to be here next year. You're only here for the however many plus games you're going to be playing before Fields takes your spot.
Yeah.
The team knows.
You're the Mark Sanchez.
Right. You're Mark Sanchez. You're butt fumble, pretty much, man. Yeah. You only here to carry Justin Fields' nuts at the moment. I'm sorry.
Eddie Jackson, he's never had a filter on his Twitter account either. So he's talked shit about fans before. So
he's deleted more tweets than anybody I know.
Yeah. And
I don't know about that.
Andy Dalton should just be thankful that there was no draft party this year for him to be publicly humiliated like Mike Glennon was back in 2017.
Yeah, I mean, for them to throw Dalton, knowing Ryan Pace's past, right? Let's bring in not Dalton. Let's bring in Glennon, draft Mitch. Let's bring in this guy, draft that guy. Let's bring in this guy, draft that. Right? For them to grab Dalton and for the Bears to put out a QB1 was probably the worst fucking thing for Dalton. Don't get me wrong. Like, I want to see what Andy Dalton does in the offense too. I want to fucking see it. Like, I'm just on the lines of like, wow, man. Like if I say we're here, right? And Badge is on the show and we bring fucking somebody new on the show, and I'm like, finally we got a guy who can talk on a podcast. Everybody else on the fucking podcast would be like, wait, what the fuck?
Wait,
You,
what?
Bobby.
Are you saying I can't talk, Bobby? Thanks, man.
Oh, I had to mute myself. I was dying over here, man. But I mean, all in all, we're gonna have a lot of these reactions, right? We're gonna have a lot of this talk. We'll have a lot of this back and forth going on, and we'll see where this goes. Yeah, you're right. Decided to do the same with Jimmy Graham. He was another one. Jimmy Graham and Komet. You got a lot of people right now saying to cut Jimmy Graham. That's another thing that's on the table. I don't see why. I mean, why not go with a two-headed beast? Why not keep Komet and Graham?
Right.
There's other places where you can afford to move, and I mean, everybody's down with letting Fields learn for a year. Well, that was kind of Komet last year with Graham, and I do think. Go ahead.
Sorry, Bobby. I mean, Matt Nagy came from an Andy Reid system, right? And Komet is that tight end that Nagy wants to have, but Jimmy Graham is somebody that, I mean, he's not obviously
Hall of Famer,
young.
dude.
Yeah, Hall of Famer, and dude, he had fucking 9 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
In the red zone. He's like the only fucking guy that caught a touchdown in the end zone. They caught a touchdown last year.
Yeah.
Within, like, he's really not, but
He had more touchdowns than our wide receivers had.
Yeah, he's a huge target in the red zone. I don't like his salary his salary either, but I think if you're going to rely on Andy Dalton as your veteran quarterback to start the season, having Komet and Jimmy Graham there, I mean, Graham could just be his security blanket for crying out loud. Like,
Yep.
He's my last option. Oh, he's there. Perfect. I was, trust me, I hated I thought, Jimmy Graham, really? We're taking the fucking cast off from the Green Bay Packers?
Man, talk so
That's
much
what
shit.
this is what we've done? So.
Yeah, no, I'm down, dude. And you know what? If you get rid of Jimmy Graham right now, you're limiting Justin Fields. I think that's a fucking top target. It's a Hall of Fame tight end. Cole Kmet is not Jimmy Graham. And everybody's saying that Kmet could have did what fucking Graham did if Graham wasn't on. I disagree. I don't think he could have. You have a guy who can read a defense during a route, sees the quarterback breakout, he breaks out. Some of those touchdowns last year, it was ad-libbed. Like, this dude just fucking moved because the pocket moved and because Mitch moved and got to where he needed to be. And honestly, I think Jimmy Graham makes your quarterback a better quarterback. And I don't care what team he's on. I think the Packers used him wrong. I think Seattle used him okay at first, right? But then kind of got away from him also. But I think Jimmy Graham should be there, and I think he should stay this year because it's a security blanket for your rookie who is about to have a fucking hookup connection with A-Rob, right? A-Rob's finally got a fucking quarterback. And Mooney, the deep balls that Mitch missed on Mooney is fucking Fields missing those balls. Like, I don't know, man. I
that's
disagree.
one of his strengths, man.
Yeah. And I'm not fucking all knowing. I don't know. I'm not going to yell at you for your fucking opinion. I just think that there's a lot of bullshit out there that people spew that other people grab onto. And they're like, yeah, we have to do that. Like, we have to do this. And I totally fucking disagree. Like, it's okay. Let's just keep building. We can kick shit down the road. We can move money, right? You can move money, but you can't. We're still in a cap penalty right now. So if it's not Graham, and we kind of talked about it earlier, it's probably not Leno till next year. Who goes now? How do we get money now for this year? Who's on the table? And that sucks, man. Like, that's
what,
10
10 to 12 million, Akeem?
I mean, there's a lot of shit. If you're in the chat right now, and I know you guys have been on fire today, we greatly fucking appreciate it. Robbie's always in there fucking killing it. Clovers is in there killing it. Mule in there. Zach's in there fucking doing his thing. I think didn't Zach just recently retire? Is Zach? I forget. I'll hit up Zach later, but let us know what you think, man. Who's first to go? Who's first to go? Like, you can check fucking Over the Cap. You can check any of those, but who's the first one to fucking go?
Zach asked a great question.
Go ahead.
Though, how do you keep Graham if you let Fuller go? You know,
I kind of think Fuller wanted to go, man. I like, in my heart of hearts now, the way I look at it, man, I think Fuller kind of just saw the writing on the wall and was like, man, you know what? I'm done. I'm peacing out. Like, you see, he took half his fucking salary to go play for the Broncos. Like,
yes, he did.
I think it's a little bit of depth, you know, and having pieces. Like, it's all about like value versus what you're paying. And coming into this draft, like, cornerback was a position that I thought was a higher need than I think it really is. It's a crapshoot, but you have two guys coming off injury in Trey Roberson and Artie Burns. Burns' injury, I think, was pretty intense, but there's guys that can step in if Trufant gets hurt. So to answer that question, in my opinion, as simply as I can, it just is depth. That, you know, the tight end position, who's really there if you're going to play two tight end set? Is it Orsted? Like, who's the next man up there? And I don't think there's anybody at even close to the caliber of Jimmy Graham. Where at the cornerback position, I feel like you can maybe compensate a little bit better. So that's just my perspective. And again, like, what the hell do I know?
Yeah, I think it's tough, man. I'm just looking at that cap shit right now, and it's tough. It's tough to decide where you're going to make money at, because I see Mule, Cup, Miller, Wims, and Ridley, right?
That's not going to give a lot, bro.
No,
that's not going to give a lot at all.
Yeah, I don't even think it gives you a full million, man. So it's tough to see some of this, right? That you got some money left over. Massey's already gone.
Yeah.
So that frees up $5 million, right? That Massey freed up $5 million. He's already done. Foles, I don't know. I think Foles' penalty doesn't really free him up. I think Foles has to be a trade, not a cut.
Yeah.
And even so, I think if you find a suitor that wants to trade for him, we're going to have to pay some of the salary.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to want us to pay some of it in order to get it. I just seen somebody write, didn't Leno take the Bears logo off his Twitter account? I don't know if Leno even had it on his Twitter account. But I mean, who fucking knows, man? I think there's a lot of things that are kind of questionable right now. And do you need money? Do you have to have that extra money? They already have the extra for incentives is set aside. That's already counted against the cap. So there is money that's already set aside, because when you say to a guy, and this would never happen, but let's just pretend for the sake of the talk, right? If you throw 5 touchdowns, I'll give you 50,000 more, right? Let's just say that's an incentive. That money gets put aside at the beginning. That's already counted against the cap. So for some of this going in, yeah, there's money there, but I don't really know, man. It kind of seems like there's a question on who you're going to cut next. Joe, what do you think, man? Who do you think the first one to be kind of fucking pop smoke? Who's going to be the first one out?
Geez, I don't know, man. I still kind of get a vibe that Jimmy Graham is going to get cut because they got to develop, our boy Cole Kmet, but I don't know, man. I think this is a team that's going to shake out during camp, and other than my prediction of possibly Jimmy Graham, you guys made some good points there. I just kind of want to wait and see what I see out of these guys. I mean, Anthony Miller could be a cut too if he sucks in camp. So, those are my 2 names on my short list.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I'm just reading comments and stuff about just people saying who, and I think Messi's already gone, Jerome. But I don't know, man. It's a tough thing to go. And you're going to hear people say different things here and there, but they're going to have to make some moves. I think they actually just extend some contracts down the road because next year's fucking cap, if the fans come back, if everything's back up and running, next year's cap's going to be increased dramatically. So I think they kind of move some money and not people. Move some money down the road and kind of take it as what it is and hope that finally football coming back and fans coming back is gonna make people want to go more, right? Because you had you had null for years where people, it's the same ones of us, right? The same people who, there's like people who maybe go to one game a year or here and there, right? But I think this coming back will make the stands full. Like people will want to go again because it's back, not because they wanted to go before. If it never went away, they wouldn't be in this point. So that's just my thoughts on it, man. There's Brett Kimball. Jenkins is our left tackle. I don't think he is, man. But that's my thought. I get it. I get people want that to happen, and that would save us a lot of money. But I just don't think that that's it. If they cut Leno, what is the offensive line? The best the Bears can do is got Leno. Yeah, and I agree. I just think it's rough, man. It's a rough conversation. Maybe something for another show. Let's kick it. Let's wrap this fucking thing up. You guys good or what?
Yeah,
We're good, baby.
Yeah, all right. Let's kick it around the room. If you got anything in the chat you want us to comment on, throw it out there real quick. Any fucking last parting shots. If you guys got any shout outs in the chat, throw it out. We'll hit it. Let's start this thing out with a guest, with Mr. Two Scoops, with Mr. Joseph. Joe, tell everybody what you got going on, where they can find you, and what you're doing, man. And let's get this thing going.
Yeah, of course, man. So, of course, we have a new White Sox show here on the Borom Network with myself, Steven Zimmerman, and Chris Gonzalez. The show is called Southburbs Hitmen. You can follow us at Southburb Hitmen. You can follow me at Joe Mandel. And I think Zim's tag, I think, is Raging Sox Fan. And Gonzo, I believe, is CG3 Gonzo. We talk White Sox every single week from a fan perspective. We'll give you tips for things inside the ballpark. You know, we'll have fun talk, conversations about, you know, some of our favorite ballpark foods, favorite drinks, favorite sports movies, I think, is coming up this week. We always have great guests, too. Some of our guests so far this season include Chuck Garfien. Of course, we had Scott Merkin, Alyssa Bergamini. We had Lamond Pope from the Chicago Tribune last week. And tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Central Time here on the Borom Network, we have Ryan McGuffey joining us. He's the White Sox content head for NBC Sports Chicago and the producer of Hangin' with Hurt on NBC Sports Chicago as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be talking White Sox with him. So we'll be doing that all year long. We're going to have fun, and I'm going to my first game here in a couple weeks, boys. So I'm excited about that. So make sure you follow us over at Southburb Hitmen on Twitter. And, of course, you can get our awesome swag as well as some of the sweet Barfly tailgate swag like Ryan Badgley's wearing on his head right now over at Deep Dish Tees. Isn't that right, Mike?
That's absolutely right. I was going to say it if you didn't say it, that next to the Barfly tailgate, the Southburbs Hitmen, absolutely the sharpest looking gear in the shop. So well done on the logo. It really looks good on the gear, man.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And anyway, our listeners could help support us. We appreciate it. But I do appreciate the follow, and I appreciate you boys having me on today. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely, Joe. Thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate it, dude, and look forward to everything you got coming this year, and look forward to seeing you in July when I come home, brother.
Absolutely. And also fantasy football will be back in September, Fantasy Football Goons, so stay tuned for that.
Cool. All right, brother. Yeah. Thanks again, man. We'll hit you up again soon. We'll see what you got going.
All right, boys. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good Sunday.
Take care, Joe.
Later.
Peace.
Later.
All right, Mr. Ryan Badgley. Shout outs. Anything you got, man? Anybody? Anything you little closing comments? What you got, dude?
Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. You guys are fucking awesome. Like it definitely is a highlight of mine, watching the chat go through and seeing what you guys are saying. Even breaking my balls, I'm all good with it. That's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be fun. Shout out to Ryan Pace and the entire draft staff at Hallis Hall. These guys worked their ass off. They did what they needed to do, and they came away with some phenomenal picks. I'm totally looking forward to football season. More I mean, I look forward to it every year, but I'm fucking absolutely excited to be a Chicago Bears fan right now, and just stoked for everything that's coming. Shout out to my boys on this show and all the barroom crew. Just appreciate everybody that's part of the network, man. You guys, I love doing this with you guys, man, and I have so much fun. Even our text thread, just fucking talking back and forth, man, is so awesome. So appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, brother. Mr. Kirkland Billings, Ryan KB on vacation in Missouri. What up, though? Shout outs. Any last comment?
I'm over here dying because my brother comes to the door and he's like, "Hey, did y'all see me in the mirror? I mean, in the window dancing?" He's like, I was back there cutting up. Then I was like, "Oh, I seen him do this, so I thought he saw me." He was like, "Oh yeah, I was acting a fool." Like,
I
that's
didn't
probably
see him.
what they was saying in the
I
chat.
didn't see him either.
So yeah, he just came up was talking shit, being stupid. But man, shout out to Pace, man, for giving us for giving us an excellent draft, man. I'm seeing anything between B pluses to A pluses. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, for us, that's mind blown. Shout out to y'all, man. We getting on here and talking, man. This therapy is needed, and especially after this draft, man. You want to get this excitement out. You just want everybody to know that Justin Fields is our quarterback, bro. We could have had the best quarterback to the start of the year in the division. Ooh. I feel like a little kid, fat. Oh, fool. Beautiful. But like I said, man, shout out to everybody on the network, man. We've been putting in a lot of work, and there's been a lot of information being thrown out, man. So shout out to everybody on the network. Shout out to all the fans that's in the chat. Shout out to my boys that's on here. And shout out to me, man, because I'm on vacation.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm trying to see. I was looking at this thing. I thought I think we got to put the new show or the part 2 or take 2 of the show out, because I'm pretty certain that the one that's out there right now is the old one. But either way, man, I don't see your brother dancing in the background, but tell him, he wants some screen time. Just grab a headset and get his ass on the mic and let's do this. Over to you, Mr. Schaefer. Mr. Mike Schaefer, what you got, man? Any shout outs, any last minutes, anything you want to kick, brother?
Yeah, just a repeat shout out to the chat. It was fire today. There's no question about it. And I think the enthusiasm of what we just witnessed and experienced from Thursday through yesterday is evident there. So it's always good to have you guys on, but it's even better to have you guys on in the chat in the good times. And I'd say this is certainly one of those good times. I also want to repeat Badge's shout out to the team here, including Aldo and our guests today, Vinny and Joe, for hopping on. And it's such a good group at the bar room. So happy and thankful to be part of it. It was a interesting year getting thrown into the mix in mid-season, but you guys are the best. Whether it's text threads going on when we're not on a show, or chat threads when we're on a show, or just talking Bears football on Sunday morning. So shout out to you guys, and again to the guests, to Vinny and Joe for hopping on and talking Bears draft. It's out of their strike zone, so to speak, in the current moment. But both of those guys are insanely knowledgeable about all sports, so it's cool to have them on. Let's get after it. We got a quarterback.
Damn straight. Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna wrap it up with, man. Shout out to fucking Justin Fields. Thank you for like saving us and being there, man. And just, obviously to Ryan Pace too, but Fields, like, let's take this one. Bears fans, I'm pleading with you. Let's not fucking judge this kid. Let's let him come in. Let's lift him up instead of breaking him down. Like, we have a kid who can be fucking awesome for years, and a lot of it might come on to how we do things, right? I'm a believer in that, but I think, the little things. It's going to be the little things, and maybe he hasn't saved us. Who fucking knows, right? But we have a quarterback. We have our team ready. Pace did a fucking awesome job in the draft, and I think Justin Fields is the face of the Chicago Bears. I believe that he will lead us to fucking greatness. and I'm here for it. So shout out to the chat, to all you guys, man. You guys are fucking crazy today. I think you guys are fucking hungover. You guys talking about Aldo's hungover. I think some of you guys are fucking wasted because you dudes were on
Fucking
fire
A,
today,
dude.
man. And I definitely appreciate it, man. And just everybody, you know, sorry for we had a little hiccup earlier and you know, kind of started it off, and then we started a new show, and there were still 18 of you talking shit to each other in the other chat. So I mean, like 60, 70 fucking people moved to the new show, but there were still like 18 in the old one talking shit, yelling at each other. So these dudes came fired up, ready to play. I would draft any of you in the 7th round. But you know, absolutely, we appreciate it, man, and let's get this thing going, man. Let's get ready for camp. Let's get these undrafted free agents in here and get this fucking team back on the map, dude. And stop being the little brother that gets beat up, you know, and every now and then gets a good shot in there and then fucking takes off before he can get caught. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to be that guy anymore. But definitely appreciate all you guys. Got, you know, Vinny and Joe for joining. Thank you. Great insight and input to the show, man. Definitely appreciate you guys. And otherwise, man, we'll see when we do this again. You know, we might take a little time, but who fucking knows? Maybe not. Maybe we'll turn around and say, hey, fuck it, let's roll. All depends on what happens and where we're at. But Frank's gonna be my undrafted free agent. I'm picking you up, Frank. Fuck it. I don't even know what position you want to play, but you're on the fucking squad. Boom. Definitely appreciate you guys, man. We're gonna leave you with a new fucking bear down and a new season. And let's, you know,
Hope.
Yeah, let you know what General Fields, you know, get all his fucking soldiers together and let's get this thing moving, boys. Appreciate everybody. Leave this thing with a big old bear down.
Bear down.